today with Michael at Nature's Treasures, and we're going to learn a bit about him and talk about the store. And what was your title again?
I'm the retail manager, marketing director.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to walk around the store here, just a sec. All right, so how long have you been here with Nature's Treasures?
I've been with Nature's Treasures for going on 12 years now, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so I started here as a part-time seasonal employee between my freshman and sophomore year of college.
So did you go to UT? Or?
I went to Rice University in Houston for undergrad. I got my bachelor's from there. Was coming back every summer and every winter break, so I was able to work here.
Oh my God, what a dream job.
Yeah. But yeah, my dad actually got me started in geology without even knowing it. But,
oh yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Was he like a little rock hound or?
No, not really. He actually is an architect, but he used to do work out in the Southwest for the Native American reservations, designing schools and hospitals. And so he wasn't around a lot, but anytime he'd travel, he'd bring me back a rock or a crystal with a Native American legend about it. And so that's how I first got interested in rocks and first started my collection. And of course, it was a very well-rounded way to get introduced, because I got introduced not only to the, scientific identifying type aspect, but also the more sociological or cultural aspects as well. And that's why working here is perfect for me, because I get both balanced out. I get the science and I get the metaphysical. And so it's a really cool place to be, because it's hard to find those blended in a lot of places.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the store. Do you know a little bit about the history?
Yeah. So the store first opened in 2000. And the owner started off just having a little shelf in her sister company's furniture shop, and it was just a shelf of crystals. They were using them for decoration. People started asking if they could buy them, so she decided to take that hobby and passion of hers and run with it. And so from there she opened up small locations in 3 places, all with her sister company, Texas Office Products and Supplies. And in each of those furniture stores, she had a little room where she was selling crystals out of, had her own employees and everything. And then eventually decided, well, let's go out and do this on our own. And so we bought this place, 14,000 square feet campus, and decided to bring all the locations together rather than sending people across town to find what they need. So.
Yeah, it's substantial. You guys have a lot of rocks.
Yeah,
and minerals.
It's a huge campus.
Yeah.
Again, about 8,000 of it is retail space. Then we have another probably 3,000 or 4,000 that's community event space, and then another 3,000 or 4,000 that's our rock yard and rock depot, where they sell the rough and bulk material.
Yeah, I'd love to check that out. What do you guys do in the event center?
We have different events throughout the year. So we rent the space to various individuals that want to put on classes or meditations or workshops. And then we also have monthly fairs that will rent out our auditorium space. And so there are actually 2 spaces in the community event center. So the auditorium is more geared towards larger events, fairs, our truck shows, which are huge events where we bring in all new inventory. We'll actually have one coming up here in October for the Denver International Showcase, so that'll be really cool. Then we also have our studio space, and that's more geared towards the smaller workshops, the more intimate settings, private events, those sorts of things.
Fun. I want to have an event.
Yeah, we do like birthday parties for kids and stuff too. So
and adults.
And adults.
Okay. Good. All right, you want to show me around?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So this is the largest sit-in geode on the North American continent. Its dimensions are about 5 feet by 5 feet by 5 feet, and it weighs about 500 pounds. So we had to wheel this in using a forklift, and it's sitting on top of a wooden flat that's covered up by the cloth here,
Yeah.
but to help support it.
Jeez, it's just so pretty. Is it for sale?
It is. It's I think we have it priced at $110,000.
Oh yeah, let me just get my check.
We put it on sale fairly regularly, so you can save $30,000 on it. Just, you know.
I'll note that. Yeah.
We have all sorts of crystals and minerals, and we try to sort them either by color or by type. So like we have calcite and fluorite on one table, we'll have sandstone in one spot. And so each table has its own little theme. Some of our more popular items are like the onyx, because it gets carved and turned into household kind of decor. So these are coasters made out of the onyx material from Mexico. Plates, goblets, vases.
Are those actually safe to drink like wine out of?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Speaking of quartz, though, and silicates, we have all different varieties of quartz. So we have clear quartz. We have this material known as nirvana or ice quartz, which has small trace amounts of lithium that gives it a pinkish color. And then there's like all sorts of varieties. We have smoky quartz. There's over on that side we have iron and quartz and different types of inclusions, and just there's so many different varieties. It's probably one of the most prevalent minerals in the Earth's crust. It's probably second or third most. I think carbonates are probably more common, but they all take them sometimes and, you know, dye them for people that prefer colors or electroplate them for things like that. But all the quartz itself is natural.
Is that a fossil or is that a cast?
This one is a cast.
Okay.
Yeah, this one here.
Dang.
However, if I remember correctly, I think the teeth might be real.
Oh wow.
But they casted the skull to place it.
Crazy.
And then of course we have our dinosaurs, which are just facsimiles models.
Yeah.
We actually did at one point have the jaw. Actually, there might
Yeah, I saw that.
So this is actual jawbone, and these are actual mosasaur teeth, but they have like recast it together because of course when they dug this out, all of these little fragments of bone weren't together. They were kind of scattered about. And so they take them and they reset them in this kind of cement-like matrix. That way you can see a visual of what it might look like. Same thing over here.
Like something that would eat you.
You know, this was actually, I think, a crocodile, like an ancient alligator or something to that effect. I actually don't remember. Yeah, alligator. But so they take the pieces that they find and they know they're from the same animal, but then of course they can't necessarily find it in situ altogether.
Right.
So we have a kids' corner in the store, which has educational materials for them. Really cool things actually that I think even adults would get a kick out of. Like this is a piece of dino eggshell. So it's a fragment of a dinosaur egg from Argentina.
Very cool.
But yeah, we have all sorts of wonderful things for the entire family. So
This is awesome.
yeah, the rock yard out here is where we sell all of our bulk materials, and so everything out here is sold by the pound. We do have a half-pound minimum on most materials. In some cases, it's a quarter pound. But again, that's just because this material is meant to be sold in bulk. But it's a really great place to come in if you wanted like a larger chunk to use in your garden to like liven it up or add color, or if you wanted to have a nice piece in your home, or you know, even if you're a healer and you wanted to just have pieces to like keep around for energetic purposes, this is a very economic way to do it because it's bulk pricing, and you can get like large chunks. But most of the people who buy our rough right now are actually lapidaries. So people who take the stones and they cut and polish them to make jewelry or gemstones out of. But the rock yard actually wraps around the entire back of our building.
Oh my
And
word.
it goes to our iconic billboard.
Yes.
And then beyond that, we have our rock depot, which is a smaller separate building that houses more rough rock inside that's sold by the pound, but also things like beads, faceted gemstones, cabochons, custom cut agates, which there are a lot of collectors who collect agates specifically. We have a lot of our kids' activities in the depot. So we have like a dino dig, we have a gem dig, we have a fluorescent room, which we call the Rockstar Observatory.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so this is again. But the depot is pretty easy to recognize because of our new dino mural that we just had painted.
Which is amazing.
So it's a beautiful painting. It was done by a local artist using spray paint. So absolutely beautiful. It's like the watercolor equivalent of
Yeah.
So we have like specimen pieces. We have more of the rough rock in the bins. These are some of the custom agates that our lapidary specialist, Robert, who you actually just got to meet, he actually will cut and polish these pieces, which they're known for their patterns, their colors, the banding, the the unique shapes that they form in. So like some of them are more oblong, some are more circular, and all of those things make them collector's items. So he goes through and hand picks through our rough material and finds the best pieces and custom cuts them. And then we have our dino dig and our kind of kids corner in the depot. Gem dig is here as well.
So cool.
This is actually one of my favorite agate pairs. Is the one in the back. That there's two of them. They kind of look like sideways lungs almost. But I really love those because of all the colors. It's like a complete rainbow in one piece.
Yeah. These are really pretty.
Yeah.
Some good ones.
And then of course we have like our tools and equipment so that if anyone wanted to pursue rock tumbling or rock hounding on their own, they can get all the materials they need here.
That's so cool.
We're moving some of our own equipment around, which is what all this is, but we have rock hounding tools and equipment over there. That's the Rockstar Observatory, which is currently closed, but it houses all of our fluorescent minerals, so they all glow under a black light. They're really amazing, actually. We started calling it the Rockstar Observatory because of a presentation that I give to elementary students. So I teach them about fluorescence and how it works in minerals and go through the science and made up a game for it and all of those sorts of things, which is a lot of fun. And so I tell them, because they've had an opportunity to see this presentation, they can come in and since they are all rock stars at that point, they come and they can enjoy the Rockstar Observatory, and that's where they get to come into an entire room of fluorescent minerals, which is it's really amazing when you get to see it.
It's melting my heart a little bit. It's pretty cool.
But yeah, so that's pretty much all the spaces aside from the event center, which is empty today since it's a weekday.
So you're fascinated still.
Yeah, so we have them in like blue topaz, amethyst, quartz, rubies, sapphires, and these are all ready to like go in and get set into jewelry. But even just having the loose stones, I think they're really pretty, like, even if they're not set or anything.
Pretty too.
These are cool too. These are actually cabochons that could be set into jewelry that have been cut and polished by some of our own employees. And so you can see, like, this is not something that it takes years and years of experience to be able to do. And the Austin Gem and Mineral Society, they actually offer classes where you can go in and learn how to use a calving machine and do all that. So it's pretty awesome. But the amethyst is the purple crystals inside. And this actually formed as a giant bubble in a lava flow. And when the lava hardened, the bubble got trapped inside. And over time, as that lava got buried under other rock types and soil and things like that, the groundwater flow would come through and water would fill in the cavity. And the minerals that had been leached out of the surrounding rocks would then crystallize inside of the opening, inside of the cavity. So it started off with mostly silica and iron, which resulted in the amethyst, but later on the fluid changed, or the rock type changed that the fluids were flowing through, and so you end up having these golden calcite crystals in there as well, which are a calcium carbonate. So probably the rocks started flowing through more limestone at that point instead of all lava and basalt. So.
I have a little bitty version of one of these.
Yeah,
not this big.
We have a ton of them, literally. Yeah. But they come from Brazil and Uruguay mostly.
Oh, cool.
Where we get ours from.
Wonderful. All right.
So that's, again, probably the biggest attraction.
Yeah.
It's a silicate mineral, and so since it's a silicate, it's fairly inert with most fluids that we would probably drink.
Okay.
Of course, if you were to put oxalic acid in one,
right,
it might dissolve over time, but I don't imagine anyone would be drinking that. So. But,
hope not.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember some of my geology and I'm failing.
Well,
I don't use it.
Do you remember the Mohs hardness scale?
Yeah.
Yeah. So gypsum, which is also known as selenite in some cases, is what this table is themed about. And gypsum is on the Mohs hardness scale. It actually has a hardness of 2. And because of that, it is actually so soft that our fingernails, which are a 2.5 approximately, can scratch it. Mm-hmm. So if I just take this, just as an example, there's no scratch, and then I can scratch it with my fingernail. Mm. And so that just lets me know that this is gypsum, whereas if it were calcite, which has a hardness of 3, my fingernail wouldn't be able to scratch it.
Right.
And so that's just a nice little bit of information if you're ever wondering, I wonder if this mineral's gypsum. Just try scratching it with your fingernail, and that'll give you a pretty good idea.
Geology tips.
Yeah. We actually have gypsum in the panhandle of Texas, and there's some in Oklahoma. The Oklahoma Salt Flats is where these are from. Mm-hmm. It's a special variety called hourglass selenite, because as the gypsum is growing in the clay matrix, it absorbs or includes the clay minerals, and because of the way the crystals arranged atomically, it will take in the clay and it'll result in this kind of hourglass formation. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I've gotten a chance to go up there and collect some of those myself, so that was a lot of fun.